The lights of New Geneva Station flickered in their endless cycle, casting long shadows across the metal floors. Hundreds of beings moved through the wide corridors like water flowing through tubes. Some walked on two legs like humans, others crawled on six, and a few floated in the air inside clear bubbles filled with strange gas. Crix pressed his small blue face against the cold window of the medical bay. His amber eyes watched the crowd below, hoping to see anyone who might help his mother. The 8-year-old Zelani boy had been sitting in the same chair for 3 days now. His pale blue skin had grown even paler from worry and lack of sleep. Behind him, his mother Vela lay on a white medical bed. Tubes and wires connected her still body to machines that beeped softly. Her chest rose and fell slowly, but her eyes stayed closed. The doctors had told Crix there was nothing more they could do. They used big words he didn't understand, but the meaning was clear. His mother was dying. Dr. Zenith, a tall creature with 4 arms and purple skin, entered the room. His voice made a clicking sound when he spoke. "Young one, you should eat something. Your mother would want you to stay strong." Crix shook his head without looking away from the window. "She will wake up soon." "I know she will." The doctor's 4 arms moved in what Crix had learned was their way of showing sadness. "The neural pathways are too damaged. We have tried everything our medical knowledge allows. Perhaps it would be best to contact your people on Zelani Prime." "No." Crix's voice was small but firm. "They will take her away from me. They will say she should die with honor, alone, like our ancestors. But she is not ready to die. I can feel it." Dr. Zenith made more clicking sounds and left the room. Crix knew the doctor was kind, but he didn't understand. None of them understood. His mother's mind was trapped somewhere inside her body, and everyone had given up trying to find her. The Zelani were proud people. They solved their own problems, and rarely asked others for help. Crix had been taught this since he could walk, but now, watching his mother fade away, he didn't care about pride anymore. He stood up from his chair, his small legs shaking from sitting so long. His mother had brought him to this station to see the galaxy, to learn about other species. She had wanted him to be different from other Zelani children, to be curious about the universe beyond their world. Now that curiosity was his only hope. Crix walked to the medical bay door. The automatic sensors opened it with a soft whoosh. The corridor beyond was busy with afternoon traffic. Beings of all shapes and sizes moved past, focused on their own business. "Excuse me," Crix called out to a passing Rigelian merchant. The tall gray creature looked down at him with 6 black eyes. "Yes, small one. My mother won't wake up. Can you help her?" The Rigelian's eyes blinked in sequence. "I am sorry for your trouble, but I know nothing of medicine. Try the medical staff." He walked away quickly, his long robes flowing behind him. Crix tried again with a group of Centauri traders. They listened politely but shook their heads. "Zelani biology is too complex for us," one said. "We could make things worse." A Vulcarian engineer stopped when Crix tugged on her metal suit. She listened to his plea with mechanical patience. "Child, if the station doctors cannot help, then no one can. You must accept this truth." But Crix could not accept it. He would not accept it. He began to run through the corridors, his small voice echoing off the metal walls. "My mother won't wake up. Please, someone help my mother. She is all I have." Some beings stopped to stare. Others hurried past, uncomfortable with the child's pain. A few offered words of sympathy, but no one offered real help. To them, this was just another tragedy in a universe full of suffering. Crix's voice grew hoarse from shouting, but he didn't stop. He ran past shops selling food from a dozen worlds. He ran past bars where aliens drank liquids that would poison most other species. He ran past the docking bays where ships arrived and departed every few minutes. "My mother won't wake up," he cried again and again. "Please help her. She is dying." In the cargo section of the station, Jake Murphy was taking a break from loading freight containers onto his ship. The human sat on a metal crate drinking coffee from a thermos and checking his shipping manifest on a small screen. He was a simple man who hauled goods between star systems to make a living. Nothing fancy, nothing heroic, Just honest work. At 42 years old, Jake had short brown hair starting to gray at the temples and kind green eyes. His work clothes were clean but worn, and his hands showed the calluses of someone who worked with them every day. He had been moving cargo for 15 years, ever since his wife died in an accident back on Earth. The work kept him busy and helped him not think too much about being alone. The sound of a child crying echoed through the cargo bay. Jake looked up from his screen, listening. Most people learn to ignore the sounds of distress on a busy station like this. Too many problems, too much pain to fix them all. But something about this cry was different. It wasn't just sadness or anger. It was pure desperation. Jake stood up and walked toward the sound. He found the source near the main corridor that connected the cargo bays to the rest of the station. A small blue child was standing there, tears streaming down his face, calling out to anyone who would listen. "My mother won't wake up. Please, someone help my mother." Jake had never seen a Zelani child before, but he knew desperation when he heard it. The boy's voice was breaking from shouting, and his small body shook with exhaustion and fear. Most of the beings in the corridor walked past the child without stopping. They had their own lives, their own problems. But Jake remembered being 8 years old when his own grandmother had been sick. He remembered the fear of losing someone you loved, the feeling that the whole world was ending. Jake walked over to the boy and knelt down so they were at the same eye level. The child looked up at him with large amber eyes, full of tears. "Hey, there, little guy," Jake said gently. "What's wrong with your mom?" Crick stared at the human man who had knelt down beside him. The man's green eyes were kind, different from the cold stares he had received from others. The boy wiped his nose with the back of his small blue hand. "She fell down 3 days ago," Crick said through his tears. "We were walking to see the crystal gardens on level 5. She said her head hurt, then she just fell down and wouldn't get up." Jake listened carefully to the translation device that turned the boy's words into English. The child's pain was clear in any language. "What did the doctors tell you?" "They said her brain is broken. They said they tried everything but nothing works. They want me to call my people to come get her, but I know they will just let her die." Crick's voice got quieter. "They say it is our way, but I don't want her to go away." Jake felt his heart squeeze tight in his chest. He had lost people too. He knew what it felt like to watch someone you loved slip away while doctors shook their heads and said there was nothing more to do. "What's your name, son?" "Crix." "My mother is Vela. I'm Jake Murphy." He put his hand gently on the boy's thin shoulder. "Can you show me where your mother is?" Crix's amber eyes grew wide with hope. "You will help her? Really?" "I'll try my best, kid. No promises, but I'll try." Crix grabbed Jake's larger hand with both of his small ones. "This way. Please hurry." They walked quickly through the station corridors. Jake noticed how other beings moved away from them. Some looked at Crix with pity, others with annoyance. A few humans nodded at Jake, but most aliens seemed uncomfortable around them. The medical bay was on level 3 near the center of the station. It was a clean white place that smelled like the chemicals doctors use to kill germs. Machines hummed and beeped in different rooms. Jake had been in too many places like this. Crix led him to a small room where a woman lay on a bed surrounded by medical equipment. Jake could see she was Crix's mother right away. They had the same pale blue skin and delicate features. But where Crix's eyes were bright with hope and fear, hers were closed and still. "This is my mother," Crix whispered. "Vela." Jake walked to the side of the bed and looked at the readings on the machines. He didn't understand all the alien technology, but he could see basic life signs: heart rate, breathing, brain activity. The patterns looked familiar, even if the numbers were different from human normal. Dr. Zenith entered the room, his 4 purple arms moving in surprise when he saw Jake. "Human, this is a restricted area. Family members only." "Jake is my friend," Crix said quickly. "He wants to help my mother." The alien doctor made clicking sounds that Jake's translator said meant disapproval. "Human medicine cannot help here. Zelani biology is far too complex for your primitive understanding." Jake felt anger rise in his chest, but he kept his voice calm. Maybe, but I've seen patterns like this before. Has anyone tried looking at this like a human neurological condition? Impossible. Zelani neural pathways are completely different from human brains. Different, yes, but maybe not as different as you think. Jake pulled out his communication device. I'd like to call a friend of mine. She's a doctor who specializes in brain problems. Dr. Zenith's forearms waved in what Jake was learning meant strong disagreement. This is highly irregular. We cannot allow untrained humans to interfere with medical treatment. Your treatment isn't working, Jake said simply. This boy is about to lose his mother and you're giving up. What harm could one more opinion do? Crix looked back and forth between the two adults. He didn't understand all their words, but he could feel the tension in the room. Please, he said to the alien doctor, let Jake's friend look at my mother. What if she can help? Dr. Zenith made more clicking sounds. Finally, he spoke. 5 minutes. Your human friend may examine the patient for 5 minutes, but I will not be responsible for any complications. Jake smiled at Crix, then pressed buttons on his communication device. After a few moments, a woman's face appeared on the small screen. She had short red hair and wore a white coat over her blue shirt. Jake, what's going on? I thought you were hauling cargo this week. Lisa, I need your help. There's a sick alien woman here, and her son needs us. Dr. Lisa Hayes looked confused for a moment. I'm not qualified to treat alien species, Jake. Their biology could be completely different from ours. Just take a look, please. The station doctors have given up. Lisa was quiet for a moment. She and Jake had been friends for 10 years, ever since she had treated his injuries after a cargo accident. She knew he wouldn't ask unless it was important. Send me the medical readings, she said finally. Jake worked with Crix to get the alien medical equipment to share its data with Lisa's human computer systems. It took several minutes of trying different connections and asking Dr. Zenith for help, which the alien doctor gave reluctantly. Finally, Lisa's face appeared on a larger screen in the room. She studied the medical information flowing across her display. Her eyes moved quickly as she read numbers and looked at brain scan images. This is interesting, she said after a few minutes. Very interesting. What do you see? Jake asked. The neural degeneration pattern looks similar to something we see in humans. It's like a condition called progressive neural shutdown. We've had some success treating it with a combination of electrical stimulation and specific medications. Dr. Zenith made loud clicking sounds. Impossible. Human treatments cannot work on Zelani physiology. Maybe not exactly the same treatment, Lisa said, but the basic principle might apply. The brain patterns show areas that are shut down but not dead. If we could stimulate them back to activity. It's too dangerous, Dr. Zenith interrupted. We could kill her. She's dying anyway, Jake said quietly. He looked at Crix, who was watching the adults with desperate hope. At least this gives her a chance. Lisa studied the readings more carefully. I would need to examine her in person, and we would need to work together, combining human knowledge with Zelani medical technology. That is against all protocols, Dr. Zenith protested. Protocols aren't helping this boy's mother, Jake said. He knelt down beside Crix again. What do you think, kid? Should we try? Crix looked at his mother's still face, then at Jake's kind eyes, then at Dr. Lisa on the screen. Yes, he whispered. Please try to wake her up. Jake stood and faced Dr. Zenith. The boy has given permission. His mother is dying under your care. Will you let us try to save her, or will you let her die because it's against the rules? The alien doctor was quiet for a long moment. His forearms moved in patterns that showed he was thinking hard. Finally, he spoke. Dr. Hayes may come aboard, but any complications will be your responsibility, not mine. Jake smiled and squeezed Crix's shoulder. Hang in there, buddy. Help is coming. For the first time in days, Crix smiled back. Dr. Lisa Hayes arrived at New Geneva Station 6 hours later. Her medical ship had been docked at a research facility only 2 systems away. Jake met her at the docking bay, grateful to see his old friend's familiar face. Thanks for coming, Lisa. I know this isn't exactly your area. Lisa carried her medical bag and a case full of portable equipment. When you called about a child who might lose his mother, I couldn't say no. You know how I feel about giving up on patients. They walked together toward the medical bay. Jake told her more about Crix and Vela, about how the alien doctors had tried everything they knew but were ready to quit. Lisa listened carefully, asking questions about the boy and his mother's condition. The readings you sent were fascinating, Lisa said as they entered the elevator. The neural patterns really do look similar to conditions I've treated in humans. But Jake, you have to understand, even small differences in alien biology could make our treatments deadly. I know the risks, but that little boy upstairs is running out of hope. His people will come to take his mother away to die, and he'll be alone. Lisa nodded. She had met Jake's grandmother years ago, before the old woman passed away. She knew Jake understood what it meant to lose family. They found Crix sitting beside his mother's bed, holding her pale blue hand. The boy looked up when they entered, his amber eyes wide with hope and fear. Crix, this is Dr. Lisa, Jake said gently. She's here to help your mother. Lisa knelt down beside the boy's chair. Hello, Crix. Jake told me about you and your mother. I'm going to do everything I can to help her, okay? Crix nodded, not trusting his voice. Dr. Zenith was also in the room along with 2 other alien medical staff. They watched Lisa with obvious doubt as she set up her equipment near Vela's bed. Before we begin, Lisa said, I need to understand exactly what treatments you've already tried. For the next hour, Dr. Zenith explained the various procedures and medications they had used. Lisa took notes on her computer, comparing alien treatments to human medical knowledge. Jake stayed close to Crix, answering the boy's whispered questions about what the doctors were doing. The neural stimulation they used was too broad, Lisa finally said. They tried to wake up her whole brain at once. But look at these patterns here. She pointed to brain scans on the wall screen. Only specific areas are affected. We need to target just those sections. That level of precision is impossible with our equipment, Dr. Zenith said. But not with mine. Lisa opened her medical case and pulled out a small device that looked like a metal headband with thin wires. This is designed for very precise neural stimulation in humans. If I can modify it for Zelani brain patterns. She worked for 2 hours, connecting her human equipment to the alien medical systems. Jake helped where he could, but mostly he stayed with Crix. The boy had grown quiet, watching every move the doctors made. Are you scared? Jake asked softly. Crix nodded. What if it doesn't work? What if they make her worse? Jake put his arm around the small boy's shoulders. Sometimes we have to take risks to help the people we love. Your mother brought you here to learn about the galaxy, right? Maybe this is part of that lesson. What do you mean? Sometimes the best help comes from places you don't expect. Your people are proud and strong, but even strong people need help sometimes. While they talked, Lisa continued working on her equipment. She had connected her neural stimulator to the alien brain scanners. The combination would let her target specific areas of Vela's brain with tiny electrical pulses. I think I'm ready, Lisa said finally. But before we start, everyone needs to understand the risks. This treatment could work, or it could cause more damage. Crix, do you understand that? The boy looked at his mother's still face, then at Lisa. Will you try your best? Yes, I promise I'll try my best. Then please help her. Lisa placed the modified headband carefully on Vela's forehead. The thin wires spread out to touch different parts of her skull. The alien medical machine showed Vela's brain activity on several screens around the room. Starting with very low power, Lisa said, pressing buttons on her control device. Just enough to see if the targeted areas respond. Jake felt Crix tense beside him as the machines began to hum softly. The brain scans showed tiny flickers of activity in areas that had been dark for days. It's working, Dr. Zenith said, surprise clear in his clicking voice. Neural activity is increasing in the affected regions. Very slowly, Lisa warned. We can't rush this. Too much stimulation could cause seizures or permanent damage. For the next 3 hours, Lisa gradually increased the power of her device. Jake and Crix watched the brain scans like they were watching the most important movie ever made. Slowly, areas of Vela's brain that had been silent began to show signs of life. But something else was happening that the machines couldn't measure. Jake noticed it first. "Crix, talk to your mother," he said suddenly. "What?" "I think she can hear you. Look at the monitors when you speak to her." Crix moved closer to his mother's ear. "Mother? It's me, Crix. Can you hear me?" The brain activity monitor showed a small spike when the boy spoke. "Keep talking to her," Lisa said excitedly. Emotional stimulation could help the treatment work better. Crix began to tell his mother about everything that had happened since she fell unconscious. He told her about Jake and Dr. Lisa, about how they came to help when everyone else had given up. He told her about the alien doctors who were now working together with the humans. "I was so scared, Mother. But Jake said that sometimes help comes from places you don't expect." He was right. The humans are helping us even though we're different from them. Each time Crix spoke, Vela's brain activity increased slightly. Lisa watched the readings carefully, adjusting her equipment to work with the boy's voice. "This is remarkable," Dr. Zenith said quietly to his assistants. "The emotional connection is enhancing the neural stimulation. I've never seen anything like it," Jake smiled. "That's the thing about humans. We don't just treat the disease, we treat the whole person." "And the whole family," Lisa added, watching Crix hold his mother's hand while he talked to her. After 4 hours of treatment, Vela's brain scans looked completely different. Areas that had been dark were now showing normal activity. Her breathing had become deeper and more regular. "I think we can try reducing the stimulation," Lisa said. "Let's see if her brain can maintain activity on its own." She slowly turned down the power on her device. Everyone in the room held their breath as they watched the monitors. Vela's brain activity stayed strong even as the artificial stimulation decreased. "It's working," Dr. Zenith whispered. "Her brain is functioning normally again." Lisa removed the headband from Vela's forehead. The monitors still showed healthy brain activity, but Vela's eyes remained closed. "Now we wait," Lisa said. "Her brain is working again, but she needs time to wake up naturally. It could be minutes or hours." Crix squeezed his mother's hand tighter. "Thank you," he said to Jake and Lisa. "Thank you for not giving up on her." Jake ruffled the boy's hair gently. "That's what friends do, kid. They don't give up on each other." As if responding to her son's voice, Vela's fingers moved slightly in Crix's small hand. The boy's eyes went wide. "Mother?" Vela's eyelids fluttered, then slowly opened. Her pale blue eyes looked around the room in confusion before focusing on her son's face. "Crix," she whispered. "My little star." Crix threw his arms around his mother as tears of joy streamed down his blue cheeks. Vela was weak, but she was awake. She lifted one shaking hand to touch her son's face. "How long was I sleeping?" she asked in a soft voice. 3 days, Mother. 3 very long days." Vela's eyes moved around the room and stopped when she saw Jake and Lisa. "Who are these people?" "They saved you," Crix said quickly. "The doctors here said they couldn't help, but Jake heard me crying and brought Dr. Lisa to make you better." Jake stepped forward and smiled. "I'm Jake Murphy, ma'am. This is Dr. Lisa Hayes. We're just glad you're okay." Vela tried to sit up, but Lisa gently pushed her back down. "You need to rest. Your brain has been through a lot. Don't try to do too much too fast." Dr. Zenith approached the bed, his 4 arms moving in patterns that showed amazement. "This is incredible. I have never seen such a complete recovery from advanced neural shutdown. How did you do it?" one of the other alien doctors asked Lisa. Before Lisa could answer, the medical bay doors opened with a loud hiss. 3 tall Zilani in dark robes entered the room. Their pale blue skin was marked with intricate tattoos that showed their high rank in Zilani society. The lead figure had silver symbols on his forehead that identified him as a medical authority. "I'm Healer Zeth of the Zilani Medical Council," the tall figure announced. "We received word that humans were interfering with the treatment of one of our people." Crix moved protectively closer to his mother. "They helped her," They saved her life. Healer. Zeth looked at Vela with surprise. He had clearly expected to find her dead or dying. This is unexpected, but it changes nothing. Zilani medical matters are for Zilani to handle. We will take her back to our world for proper treatment. She doesn't need more treatment, Dr. Lisa said firmly. Her brain function is completely normal now. Impossible. Our best healers examined her condition. The neural pathways were too damaged to repair. Dr. Zenith stepped forward. I was skeptical too, Healer Zeth. But the human methods worked where ours failed. They combined their technology with ours and found a solution. The Zilani healer made a sound of disapproval. Humans know nothing of Zilani biology. Whatever they did was dangerous and reckless. Jake felt anger rising in his chest. Dangerous? Your people were ready to let her die. At least we tried to save her. It is not your place to interfere in our affairs, human. Vela struggled to sit up despite Lisa's protests. Healer Zeth, these people risked their safety to help a stranger. They asked for nothing in return. How can you call that interference? Because it goes against our ways. We handle our own problems. And where was our help when I was dying? Vela asked, her voice getting stronger. My son cried for help for 3 days. Where were our healers then? Healer Zeth had no answer for that. Word of Vela's recovery spread quickly through the station. Soon, beings from many different species came to see the Zilani woman who had been brought back from the edge of death by human medicine. The medical bay became crowded with curious onlookers. Some were scientists who wanted to understand how the treatment worked. Others were simply amazed that someone had survived such a severe condition. A few were other parents who understood what Crix had been going through. This is exactly what I was afraid of, Healer Zeth said to his companions. Now everyone will think humans can solve problems that we cannot. But not everyone was happy about the attention. A group of station officials arrived, led by Commander Vex, a stern Rigelian who ran the medical facilities. This treatment was not approved by the medical board, Commander Vex announced. Using untested procedures on alien species could have resulted in death or permanent injury. But it didn't, Jake said. It saved her life. That was luck, not skill. Dr. Lisa stepped forward, her medical bag in her hand. It wasn't luck. It was careful analysis of the patient's condition and precise application of appropriate treatment. You had no right to experiment on an alien patient. We had the right to try to save a life when everyone else had given up. The argument grew louder as more officials arrived. Some supported the humans' actions, while others worried about the precedent. It said, what would happen if other species started demanding human medical treatment? What if the humans made mistakes and caused harm? In the middle of all the arguing, Crix climbed onto his mother's bed and hugged her tightly. The noise and angry voices scared him. All he wanted was to be happy that his mother was alive. Jake noticed the boy's fear and moved to stand beside the bed. That's enough, he said loudly. You're scaring the kid. The room fell quiet. Everyone looked at Crix, who was holding his mother and trying not to cry. Vela spoke in a voice that was soft but carried clearly through the room. I am grateful to be alive. I am grateful that my son will not grow up alone. These humans gave me that gift when my own people could not. The methods were unproven, Commander Vex insisted. But they worked, said Dr. Zenith. I witnessed the entire procedure. The humans were careful and precise. They combined their knowledge with ours to create something neither species could achieve alone. An old Centauri scientist in the crowd spoke up. Perhaps we should study this treatment instead of arguing about it. If it can help other patients, shouldn't we try to understand it? That would require cooperation between species, Healer Zeth said coldly. Is cooperation such a terrible thing? Jake asked. Your son is alive because different species work together. Isn't that worth something? Healer Zeth looked at Vela and Crix, then at the mixed group of aliens and humans in the room. The Zilani Medical Council will need to review this case. Review. It all you want, Lisa said. But don't punish these people for accepting help when they needed it. Commander Vex raised his hands for quiet. The station medical board will investigate this incident. Until then, the patient will remain here for observation. I want to stay with my mother, Crick said quickly. He was afraid they would separate them again. The boy stays with his mother, Jake said firmly. They've been through enough. Vela reached out and took Jake's hand with her shaking fingers. Thank you, she whispered. Not just for saving me, but for taking care of my son when I could not. Jake smiled and gently squeezed her hand. Any decent person would have done the same thing. But you were the one who stopped to listen, Crick said. You were the one who didn't walk away. As the crowd began to disperse, Dr. Lisa started packing up her equipment, but several alien doctors stayed behind to ask her questions about the treatment. They wanted to understand how it worked, whether it could be used to help other patients. The key was targeting specific neural pathways instead of trying to stimulate the entire brain, Lisa explained. But the emotional connection was just as important. Crick's talking to his mother helped her brain respond to the treatment. Dr. Zenith nodded thoughtfully. We focus on the medical problem but ignore the patient's emotional needs. Perhaps we have something to learn from human medicine. Jake sat down in the chair beside Vela's bed where Crick had spent so many hours waiting. How are you feeling, really? Tired but good, Vela said. Confused about what happens next? What do you mean? My people will want me to return to our world. But after what happened here, I'm not sure that's where we belong anymore. Crix looked up at his mother with worried eyes. Do we have to go back? I don't know, little star. I don't know. Jake looked at the mother and son, then at Dr. Lisa, who was still talking with the alien doctors. Something had changed on the station, today. Something important. And he had a feeling this was just the beginning. 2 weeks later, Vela was strong enough to walk around the station. She held Crix's hand as they visited the crystal gardens on level 5, the same place they had been going when she collapsed. The beautiful formations of colored crystal caught the light and threw rainbows across the walls. I never thought I would see this place, Vela said softly. When I was sick, I thought I would never see anything again. Crix squeezed her hand. Jake said you were too stubborn to die. He was right. They found Jake in the cargo bay checking supplies for his next shipping run. He smiled when he saw them coming. Look at you two. You look like a real family again. We wanted to thank you before you leave, Vela said. And to give you this. She handed Jake a small crystal pendant that glowed with soft blue light. It's from our home world. It will bring you good luck on your travels. Jake took the pendant carefully. Thank you. But seeing you both healthy is all the thanks I need. Doctor, Lisa appeared from behind a stack of cargo containers. She had been staying on the station to work with the alien doctors, teaching them about human medical techniques. Perfect timing, Lisa said. I have news about the medical board's decision. Everyone gathered around to listen. The past 2 weeks had been filled with meetings and investigations as station officials tried to decide what to do about the successful treatment. They're creating a new program, Lisa announced. Mixed species medical teams, doctors from different races will work together on difficult cases, combining their knowledge and techniques. That's wonderful, Vela said. Other families won't have to go through what we did. There's more, Lisa continued. They want me to stay and help set up the program. And Jake, they're offering you a position as interspecies medical coordinator. Jake looked surprised. Me? I'm not a doctor. I just haul cargo. You're the one who saw a child in need and refused to walk away, Dr. Zenith said, joining their group. You brought different species together to solve a problem. That's exactly what this job requires. Crix tugged on Jake's sleeve. Please stay. We want to be your friends. Jake looked down at the boy's hopeful face, then at Vela's grateful smile, then at Lisa, who was practically bouncing with excitement about her new research opportunities. I guess I could stick around for a while, he said finally. The celebration was interrupted by the arrival of Healer Zeth and 2 other Zalani officials. They had returned from their home world with the medical council's decision about Vela and Crix. The council has reviewed your case, Healer Zeth announced formally. They have decided that you and your son may remain on this station if you choose. Vela was shocked. Really? They're not demanding we return home? The Council recognizes that you have experienced something unique here. They believe you can serve as a liaison between our people and the other species. Crix jumped up and down with excitement. We can stay. We can stay with Jake and Dr. Lisa. But Healer Zeth wasn't finished. However, there is one condition. You must help establish a Zalani medical facility here on the station. Our people want to learn from what happened to you. You mean cooperation between species? Vela asked. Yes. The Council has decided that isolation is no longer the best path for our people. Your recovery has shown us that sometimes we must work with others to achieve the best results. Dr. Lisa grinned. This is perfect. We'll have human, Zalani, Rigelian, and Centauri doctors all working together. Think of what we could accomplish. Over the following months, New Geneva Station transformed into something unprecedented in galactic history. The new multi-species medical center attracted patients and doctors from across the galaxy. Species that had never worked together before found themselves sharing knowledge and techniques. Jake's job as coordinator kept him busy, but he loved it. He helped solve communication problems between different species, arranged for special equipment needs, and made sure that families like Vela and Crix felt welcome and supported. The biggest success came when a Rigelian child arrived with a condition similar to what Vela had suffered. Using the combined human-Zalani treatment protocol, the medical team was able to cure the child completely. Word spread quickly that the station could treat illnesses that had been considered hopeless. Dr. Lisa published papers about the treatments, sharing the knowledge with medical facilities throughout the galaxy. She often spoke about how emotional support and family involvement were just as important as the technical procedures. We don't just treat the disease, she would tell other doctors. We treat the whole being, and we include their loved ones in the healing process. Vela became the head of Zalani medical operations on the station. She worked closely with Dr. Zenith and the other alien doctors, translating not just languages, but cultural approaches to medicine. Each species brings something valuable, she would explain to new staff members. Humans bring compassion and creativity. Zalani bring precision and advanced technology. Rigelians bring patience and thoroughness. Together, we can help patients in ways none of us could manage alone. Crix grew up on the station, learning languages and customs from dozens of different species. He became something special, a child who belonged to the whole galaxy, not just one world. He often helped translate for frightened children who were brought to the medical center. Don't be scared, he would tell them in their own languages. The doctors here are different species, but they all want to help you get better. They helped my mother when no one else could. One evening, Jake sat in the observation deck looking out at the stars. Ships from many worlds came and went, bringing patients and taking home cured family members. The station buzzed with activity day and night. Crix found him there, as he often did. The boy was 12 now, taller, but still with the same bright, amber eyes. Jake, I got accepted to the Multi-Species Medical Academy, Jake smiled proudly. That's great, kid. You're going to make an excellent doctor. I want to be like you and Dr. Lisa. I want to help families stay together. You already do that, Crix. Every day. They sat together in comfortable silence, watching the ships move through space. Finally, Crix spoke again. Do you ever think about what would have happened if you hadn't stopped to help that day? Jake was quiet for a moment. Sometimes. But then I remember something my grandmother used to tell me. She said that the most important moments in life are when you choose to help someone, even when it's not easy. Is that why humans are different from other species? I don't think we're better than other species, Crix. We just have our own way of looking at problems. Every species does. But humans are the ones who run toward someone who's crying for help instead of walking away. Jake put his arm around the boy's shoulders. Maybe that's true. But look around this station now. Beings from dozens of worlds are running toward people who need help. Maybe being human isn't about what species you are. Maybe it's about choosing to care about others. As if to prove his point, an announcement echoed through the station. A new emergency patient was arriving. A Centauri child with a rare condition. Teams of doctors from multiple species were already preparing to help. Jake and Crix could see the medical transport ship approaching through the observation deck windows. Soon, another family would get the help they needed, thanks to the cooperation that had started with one boy's desperate cry and one man's refusal to walk away. "Come on," Jake said, standing up. "Let's go see if they need any help." Crix jumped up eagerly. "Race you to the medical bay." As they ran through the corridors together, Jake thought about how much had changed since that day when he first heard a small voice crying for help. The galaxy was still full of problems, but now it was also full of people working together to solve them. And that, Jake thought, was the most human thing of all.